Alright, so I was going to do Screencastify, but that didn't work, so I'm recording it this way, so hopefully you can see it well. If not, I can always send the PowerPoint separately. Alright, so I decided to do an interview, and I interviewed a kindergarten teacher from Ridgeview, which is in Belgrade. And the goal of my interview was to learn about her classroom management style and compare it to my practicum teachers. My practicum teacher is a first grade teacher in Livingston. I also want to work with the younger grades, so all these questions were just genuine questions that I was curious about and wanted to learn for my future classroom. Alright, what strategies have helped you keep your students focused and engaged? She said the most important thing that she does to keep them focused and engaged is teaching them how to become a good student, which is voice level, rules, and visuals. She said that she has visuals all over her classroom and she has rules posted and everything. They also do callbacks. One that she uses is Hocus Pocus, Everyone Focus, which I think is super fun. Turn and Talks and Give Me 5, which my practicum teacher does the callbacks, and she has the rules and the Turn and Talks. The one thing different was the Give Me 5, which she has her students reflect on how their body is at the moment and if they're doing the right thing. Alright, second question. Does your classroom management change from class to class? She said no, she has the same expectations for each class, but each class has its own personality, and so these expectations might be different for them. Third question. How do you make the class interesting / relevant, even for those not interested in the subject? She said that she's always switching tasks. They're in different group sizes, a variety of books, and activity choices. My practicum teacher does all of these as well. For the activity choices, she gives the person I interviewed gives them different worksheets that they can choose from, and so they have a say of what they're doing that day, as well as my practicum teacher will do that with centers. The fourth question was, do you use songs as a way to manage your classroom? She said she does use songs and that they're very helpful. She didn't give me any specific ones, but she said that she does use them. And then she also plays music. My practicum teacher does use songs a lot, she said. One of the songs she uses that I really like is for writing their name, and it goes, the first thing I do is always the same. I pick up my pencil and write down my name, which they really like this, and I think this is something that will stick with them for a long time. Alright, fifth question, do you use any classroom jobs? If so, are they helpful? She said that she has one helper throughout the whole day, and they get to do all the jobs. She said that they get so excited to do this, and they really love it. My practicum teacher does it a little differently, where every student has a job for the whole week, so they each have a job every day, and it stays the same for the whole week, and they really like that as well. I really like both of these ideas, but I really liked the whole day because I think it makes them feel more special that way. Alright, sixth question. How do you display or go over classroom rules? We kind of talked about this earlier in the first question, but she said that they make rules as a group, she displays them, and then they're constantly revisiting them, especially since they're so young. My practicum teacher does these same things, and they also have school rules that they follow. Alright, the seventh question. How do you redirect misbehavior? This one is something that I was very curious about because I'm super nervous about this. I think I often let kids get away with stuff at my practicum class, so this was something I was very interested in. She said that it's an ongoing task, especially with the younger groups or age groups. She said most of the time it's just a whole group reminder, which is something my CT does as well, and positive praise. Something I've noticed in my practicum class is my teacher will do that, and then all the students turn and try and mimic that behavior. If the behavior is bad, she said she'll discuss with them at her desk, and then if it's very bad, then she'll talk to her parent. I know my CT does those last two as well. Alright, so in the Pearson text, they talk about how students' behavior should be in the classroom, and that it's important to establish that at the beginning of the school year. The kindergarten teacher I interviewed talked about this in the first question. She said how she and her students talk about being a good student and how kindergarten is all about learning how to be a good student. I really liked how this tied into the Jones book so well. I think it's really important that you establish these things from the beginning, and in the interview she talked about how she does this all at the beginning of the school year and gets to really know them and establishes her expectations from the beginning so that they know how they need to act at school. Right. Something that I found that both my practicum teacher and the teacher I interviewed was their attention grabbers. From the interview, I learned that she used Hocus Pocus, Everyone Focus, which is very fun and silly. My practicum teacher uses some too. She uses a bunch of different ones. She'll do fun ones on the spot, like I say paper, you say pencil, and they just keep doing that, and then she'll always like change it up, and they really like that one. But in the Pearson book, one of the things they talked about is procedures, and one procedure is attention grabbers, that's something that we even do in our class. So I think that's really good, and yeah. One thing that I learned from both of these teachers was the relationships they build with their students. I learned how important this is, especially when dealing with behavior. Knowing a little bit about the student helps you understand why their behavior may be a current way and may help you handle the situation better. In the article from Edutopia, one principle they talked about was the importance of building relationships with your students. Alright, and then I found this cool quote from there that I wanted to share. It said, "Be consistent but flexible, love them unconditionally but hold them accountable, give them a voice but be the leader." I think this ties in very well to focus on building relationships. I think that students need you to have a relationship with them, and it's really important to have that, and it helps you understand them better and helps you understand why their behavior may be a certain way one day. And then my last slide was the conclusions. I said throughout the interview, I noticed that my CT and her both have very similar ways to manage their classrooms. I think this is because they both teach a young grade, so they need to have more guidance in their classrooms. That's something that I learned a lot throughout this whole activity, was that there's a lot that goes into their classroom management, especially since the kids are so young. All right, and then these are my sources.